Hey Fae folk, welcome back. So for today's video, we're going to be doing a Monster High ranking, but it is going to be a little bit different than the typical format of ranking that I do. If you've been around for a while, you will know that I have done tier list style rankings for literally every single character from Generation 1 of Monster High. Like I did all the Draculoras, the Claudines, etc., etc. And then I've also done sort of more conglomerate rankings where I just rank all of the G3 dolls. So like, we're not new to ranking here, right? But I normally do it in the tier list format. However, recently another doll YouTuber that I'm sure you guys know of, Angel Loza, has been doing some rankings where it's like worst to best. I know he did the G3 signatures for Monster High and then the Skelectors. That's all that's come out as of time of filming. I feel like now that I've said that, I've jinxed myself and there's probably going to be another one that I'm like behind on. But point being, as I saw those, I thought it was really fun. And so I thought I would give my own take on it. And today we're going to be ranking all of the Gen 1 signature dolls. So of course, credit to Angel Loza for like the concept. I mean, like ranking in general, I feel like is quite popular amongst doll channels and also just in general, but I do want to, give credit where credit is due. But that is what we are going to be doing today. So this was quite difficult just because with a tier list ranking, I think it's slightly easier because, if you have like top tier, you can put as many dolls as you want in top tier. Whereas if you're doing a like worst to best style ranking, there's only one worst and there's only one best. So this was quite difficult, but also quite fun to compile this list. I'm very excited to share it with you all. Assuming that I have counted correctly and not accidentally included any G2 exclusive characters, I think we have 69 dolls to get through. Nice. That's the only time I'm going to say that, I promise. So this might end up being a long one. I'm going to try to not talk too long about each individual character, so I just don't bore you guys. But yeah, we're going to be going through and talking about what I think was the worst signature from G1 all the way up to the best. Of course, this is just going to be my opinion. I'm sure with 69 dolls, your like thoughts and like how you would rank them is going to differ at some point from mine. So if you want to express anything in the comments, absolutely feel free to. Just do please be kind about it if you want to disagree with me. But yeah, without further ado, like I said, we have a lot to get through, so let's just jump on in. Okay, just kidding. We can't actually jump into things quite yet because I realized, I think on like the third doll that I was ranking, that I actually had some extra like qualifiers slash disclaimers to make for this video. So yeah, I'm going to insert that clip here. Sorry, this is a little messy, but everything that needs to be said gets said at some point. It's just a little out of order. So here you go. Here's my extra disclaimers, and then I'll actually get into it. So for these, I am doing like the first appearance of the character. That is kind of inherently what their signature look is to me. For most characters, that's like a standalone, like just their core doll. But for some characters, they are part of a line. And even like the haunted dolls, those dolls are part of a line, but they still feel very signature. Other dolls are like part of a swim line or something like that. So they don't necessarily feel so much like signature dolls, but like, just to keep it consistent, we're going to be going with their first release, no matter what that first release might have consisted of. Is that unfair? I don't know. Maybe. It's not my fault Monster High decided to introduce some dolls in swim lines. And then the other thing is that I have talked about on this channel a lot about the fact that some Monster High dolls from Generation 1, not saying Generation 3 is perfect, but we're talking about Generation 1 here, are a little bit insensitive in a few different ways, especially when it comes to representing different ethnicities and like cultures and stuff like that. I'm not taking that into account for this ranking just because I don't I don't know how to do that. Like I don't know if you're trying to compare aesthetics to also account for the inaccuracies, especially because I'm not an expert in these cultures. So like I might miss some of the inaccuracies. So I'll make a note like when we get to certain dolls that I'm aware of that have like controversy or anything like that. But I'm not going to be discussing at length about the controversy. I've done that before. It's not that I don't care. I do very much. I think some of the stuff that they did in Generation 1 was extremely fucked up and problematic. So I'm not trying to make excuses for that. I'm not trying to say in any way that that's okay. I just think for this sort of ranking, it can get very difficult to try to be like, oh, well, this doll is maybe aesthetically pretty, but like this is inaccurate, especially again, as someone who's not as informed on the cultures, I might not be able to point out every inaccuracy. So like, that's just that I struggled for a long time with how to kind of deal with that in this video because I don't want to ignore it because then I feel like I'm just letting it happen. And that's almost as bad as actively perpetrating like negative stereotypes or something like that. So it's not that. I hope you guys will know that from like watching me before and like hearing me rant about these things before, that I do very, very, very much care about the cultural insensitivities and inaccuracies. It's just for this video specifically, I don't necessarily know the best way to address them. And I have talked about it before. And, so I hope y'all understand that. But I think that's everything that I needed to like squeeze in here. So now we can get back to things. So starting off in 69th place is unfortunately Hoodude, who, if you know, I adore, like character-wise. He is arguably my favorite character from G1. I love that tragic little man so much. I don't know why. I think he's so fun and like also a little bit pitiful. And so like I just want the best for him, right? This doll was not the best for him. I feel like I'm already starting to rant and we're literally on the first doll, and I just said I wasn't going to talk too long about each doll, but I can feel it. I can feel it starting in my brain. This is a rag doll, which like I'm not inherently against rag dolls, but that's like not Monster High to me. And like I know he is made of fabric canonically. Like, I get that. I just think that this is not the execution that he deserved, especially because this was an SDCC exclusive set. He came with Scara, I think it was. So, like, for an SDCC exclusive set, this is what you're going to do to my boy. I can't even express how disappointing that is. Like, it's just, there's no articulation. The hair looks limp. Everything about this is just so sad and so lackluster. So despite the fact that character-wise, he's arguably the best in my head, he's unquestionably the worst when it comes to the actual doll. Right on his heels is Astronova. I hate this doll so much. I'm so sorry. I know she had a variant, like the picture I have is like, I think the darker skin tone, and she also had a lighter skin tone version. It doesn't matter which one we're talking about because the skin tone is not the reason that I hate this doll so much. I just think her design is so genuinely horrific. Like I just do not like it whatsoever. I do think she had a cool playset. Hi baby. Hello. Hi kitten. I do think she had a cool playset because she could like levitate and everything. So there is that. But just in general, I do think the colors are a lot. The like patterns are very odd. I just there's not anything about this doll that I have anything nice to say about. So yeah, she was honestly fighting Hoodude for last place, but because this is like it fits into the Monster High mold, right? Like her articulation is the same as other Monster High dolls. Like her sculpt might be unique to her. I honestly don't know about the face sculpt, but like it matches other Monster High dolls, whereas Hoodude stands out as just very much seeming to lack quality. Not that I think that this is like the highest quality of her, but she at least feels like a Monster High doll to me. So she's 68th place, but I think this is really bad. Then we have Gil. Also, I do need to say I am not going to be able to keep track as like, I know this is 67. I'm going to lose my way at some point. I do have like them marked when they're at significant intervals, like 50. I think I did 25. So I'm not going to say the number every time because I won't know the number every time. But yes, 67th place is Gil. I just don't love this. I also forgot to clarify literally anything in the intro. Oh my God. Editing me. Put this, do a little break here and then put this segment into the intro. I'm so silly goofy. Okay, so back to Gil. Sorry about that. So he was introduced in a swim line. I can't remember if it was Skull Shores or I can never remember like what order the swim lines from G1 came out, but he was introduced in a swim line. So like kind of inherently he has less going on here, but this is what we have to work with. I think that because he was introduced in a swim line, the outfit is pretty lackluster, but also as much as I think that people are a little bit too harsh on Gil as a character, made a whole video about that, I think that the actual dolls are really bad. I just think that like the sculpt and everything for him is kind of rough. Maybe not even like the sculpt, like the face sculpt itself, there's potential there. But the screening and like the way his hair is done, like the limp fin, it's just I'm not a big fan of that. So Gil's quite low on the list here. Next up is going to be slow-mo. There are a couple of groupings of like Mansters in here. He to me is slightly better than Gil just because I think that he has like an actual hairstyle as opposed to just like a limp fin on his head there. I still don't love the screening. And he also was like, his first doll was a themed line. It looks like some sort of spirit line. I didn't write it down. Do you expect me to be professional? So, yeah, I mean, mostly he's just sort of lackluster. Personally, I find his expression a bit off putting. So, also quite bad. Then we have Heath, who, funnily enough, is another Manster who was not introduced like as a core doll, really. He wasn't a two pack with Abby rather than a line, but it was a very themed two pack, right? Like it wasn't like, oh, here's these two characters, they're just like in a box together. It was like a home ick class. So it's still a very themed line, which I just think is interesting that that seems to be a trend with the male dolls. He does have more of an outfit though. So like he's got the oven mitt, but he does have on more of a sort of day-to-day look, I guess. That being said, it's still quite boring. And I'm not really a big fan of, again, the screening. I just think it's like a little bit weird. They did this thing, and I've seen this with other brands too. It's not exclusive to Monster High, but they're like allergic to putting any color on male dolls' lips because I guess then it looks like lipstick or something like that. And oh my God, how scandalous, a boy wearing lipstick. We could never. Heavy sarcasm there. I hope that's clear. So, like, it just looks a little uncanny to me because even if you're not wearing lipstick, you tend to have a slightly different skin tone on your lips. Slightly, I'm saying like it can be slight, it can be more extreme, but just generally, humans and humanoids do tend to have a slightly different lip color than the rest of their skin tone. And so I just think it like looks quite uncanny for his lips to be the exact same color as the rest of his skin. And like the hair is kind of like he's got fire hair. You could have done something more exciting with that, you know? I mean, like, I guess it's not always fiery, but it just feels like, you could have gone for it to make it more exciting. So he's sort of just there and sort of boring. So he's pretty low on the list. We're still going with the Mansters. This one is Manny Tor. He has a very, very basic outfit. This was also an SD6C exclusive doll, but he gets points for having such a unique body sculpt. It is kind of inherent to the character. Like, there's not really any other way you could have made this doll and had it read really as Manny Tor. But I do think it's impressive that they did it. Like, I think that it's cool how dramatic his silhouette is. The entire head being like very animalistic is really cool and not something we saw a lot with G1 of Monster High. So I just think that that's fun and that sort of makes him stand out amongst the crowd, despite the fact that his actual outfit is kind of just there. Okay, this one's funny to me. So this is Gilda Goldstag. And when I was younger, I was weirdly obsessed with this doll. I don't know why. Like, I don't know if it was just I was like fascinated by the horns or like the shimmery golden skin or like what was going on here. I don't feel that way now. Clearly, she's featured quite low on today's list. Like, there are still cool elements, like those things that I mentioned are still fun. She's got short hair that's like up, and that's not something that was super common to see on female presenting dolls. Like, that's more of, I mean, that's basically Heath's hairstyle, but rooted, right? So, like, that's kind of interesting to see. But ultimately, she's just kind of boring. Like, she doesn't really have makeup going on, and the outfit is very just there. It is honestly giving me very much like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, but make it tight. like, like the shirt and the pant color. So that's just kind of funny. But yeah, she's like, again, kind of like Manny, a fun base doll, but ultimately quite boring compared to a lot of what we get to see. This next one is not boring, but I think she's ugly. And this one comes with another caveat. So this is Mousades. I can never figure out how to pronounce her name. I'm really sorry. So with her, Luna, and LED, they were all from like their characters that were introduced in Boo York. They did have more casual looks, but those came in a 3-pack. And then these were like more extravagant sort of looks, but they came as a single pack. And it's not like with Gil. He did have other dolls that were, I don't think he ever came in a single pack, but he did have other dolls that were like better outfit wise than the one that I showed y'all, like the swim one. but they were released at a very clearly later date. So it was like, okay, I have to go with the first one. But with the Boo York dolls, I'm not 100% sure if they were released like literally the exact same time, like the 3-pack and the single packs hit the shelves at the exact same moment. But the database website that I use has them listed as being released in the same year. So at that point, I was just like, okay, well, these dolls functionally were released at the same time. So I just went with the single packs, even though those aren't the more casual looks, just because if you're going by earliest and they're released at the same year, so I can't go by earliest, I feel like I have to go with the individually packaged ones. Like, I feel like that's something that it's more likely that more people had. And so that feels more like a core doll to me. So again, you're obviously free to like disagree with how I chose to do that, but it's too late to adjust the list. So this is what we're doing. So, Mercedes, I just hate this. Like, I just think that this is not the vibe. I think that she gets points for me above some of the characters that we've seen, like, lower on this list because I do like her hair tone. I think the hair and the skin color combo is really fun. It looks like she's faintly iridescent, which automatically bumps her up in my head. I honestly don't mind, like, the skirt, maybe. And I do think just her concept is kind of fun. Like, I do like mice and rats and stuff like that. So her being a even though she's named Mercedes or Mouseades, she's supposed to be the daughter of the Rat King. So I'm going to call her a rat. I like rats. Okay. So I think that that bumps her up because I like the type of monster that she is. But I just think like the shoes and the like shoulder pieces that she has are such a dull gray that it looks sort of weird against the green chrome. I think that overall the colors are not super harmonious. You've got like a few grays, pink, chrome, teal, yellow. Like there's just a lot happening and I don't feel like they're balanced or like meshed very well. I think all the pieces feel very very separate and I understand her top is supposed to be like slightly referencing cheese. I hate it. I hate it. I know. Okay, I get it. Mouse, rat, cheese. I get it. Just because I understand it does not mean I have to like it. And yeah, I don't. So she's pretty low too. Next up is Jane Boolittle, who was another one that I really, really liked as a kid. Never ended up getting her, which is probably good because now as an adult, I probably would go ahead and sell her if I did have her in the collection. I don't think she's necessarily terrible. I just honestly look at her and it's like I like elements, but if I'm trying to take in the doll as a whole, I just don't feel anything. Like she doesn't really elicit any emotion to me. I also think she was just sort of a confusing character. Like I don't know if we ever learned her monster type, but it's not like Calliope, she's like a goo monster, but we don't know her lineage, or like Cupid, we don't know exactly what type she is. But I feel like those feel more intentionally mysterious, whereas I don't know, something about Jane just feels like, nah, just pop it in there. So I don't think she's awful, but I don't love her. And then we have the conjoined twins, Perry and Pearl Serpentine, who I do think objectively, like appearance wise, look worse than Jane Boolittle, but they get to be higher on the list for me personally, just because this is a very unique doll. Like the sculpting and everything, two heads, like that's just such a unique concept. So even though I don't necessarily think that it was executed with the most success, like I do think there's a lot happening with this doll. I think just the creativity and like the concept and the follow through of making conjoined twins into a doll is pretty cool. Like I think that that's quite fun. So I wanted to give them credit for that. So she's a little higher. They're a little higher than maybe they should be. Kind of similar vibes for Kala, who is up next. I do like her doll better than I like Perry and Pearl. I think that like while the color story is still very bright and very in your face, it does feel slightly more harmonized than Perry and Pearl did. I used to have this doll. I mean, I guess in technicality, I still have this doll, except I did pop her head off to use for a custom. So like have is a strong word. But again, I think that like the sculpting is really really interesting and fun, like extra arms. I know they had done that with Wedona I think already at this point, but that's pretty cool. Like the squid body, I think her face sculpt is genuinely really really beautiful. So she's not ever going to be like top of my list clearly, but I do think there are at least some positives about her. Next up is Claudia Wolf. I love her smiling sculpt so much. She's another one that I have gotten ahead. I didn't have this doll ever complete, but I did acquire her head for a custom because I really liked this like sculpt, the smile sculpt. I just think is so cute and so fun. But I do think that her outfit is also just a little bit boring. Like it's definitely not bad. I like the metallic gold, like I like all that. I think the hair could have benefited from maybe a couple different tones of yellow instead of like just the solid yellow. But I don't hate the concept of it being yellow in color. I just think that when we compare this to other dolls, her outfit is sort of just there. So it's not bad, but like she's just not necessarily that exciting. Again, I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot here. But next up, we have Scara, and same sort of vibes. Honestly, she's even more simplistic than Claudia. She does have a very interesting screening, but like not necessarily as unique a sculpt. I just think something about her feels simple intentionally, whereas some of the other dolls that we've talked about, I mean, like realistically speaking, this outfit feels quite comparable to me to Gilda Goldstag. Maybe it's just like the color of the shirt that's doing that for me. But that feels simple because she wasn't a main character and like because that was part of a pack, so they didn't necessarily have budget to like dedicate just to her. Whereas something about Scara's feels like a choice. It doesn't feel like she has a plain outfit because that's what Mattel gave her. It feels like she has a plain outfit because that's what she prefers. I don't know if that makes me sound crazy or if y'all will understand what I'm talking about, but that's just kind of the vibe that I get from her. So I think that's why I like her a little bit more. Then we've got Holt Hyde, who is not my cup of tea. There's a lot happening here. Lots of different colors, lots of in your face. Like he's not really for me, but I can really appreciate the effort that went into him. I think that with some of the other male dolls, you'll see that they just like don't really feel like they have a ton of effort put into them. There are some that are coming up that are higher that also feel like they had effort put in. But like even though he's not my favorite, like I have to admire the fact that this guy has layers to his outfit. It's clearly thought out. There's like detail in here. And I really appreciate that. I do like his face tattoo. I think that's pretty fun. But yeah, just like when you compare this, let's not say Gil, because that's kind of unfair. When you compare this to Heath, I mean, Heath came in a 2-pack. It was themed, but like you still could have done more with him. Whereas Holt is a whole character here, you know what I'm saying? So I think he just reads a lot better. Sort of by contrast, I do think that Finnegan here definitely has a lot less detail going on, but the details that he does have, I think, are so cool. I think that the like completely upright like Finn mohawk reads a lot better than Gil's Finn, and like something about the face I think is just less awful to me, even though they have like either the same or similar monster types. I'm not 100% certain on that. He's got a cool arm tattoo. Mostly I really love the fact that this was one I didn't participate in this. Like I was not super duper online and aware of things when this was happening, but this was a character that got voted on to be released. So I think it's really cool that like the fandom got to choose that they wanted to see him. And I love the representation that this brings. Like I think that that's just something that is important to recognize and is really fun. The whole wheelchair, also the fact that it's not just like a stock standard wheelchair. Not that there's anything wrong with that, right? Like I would rather have the option of dolls with a very basic wheelchair than none at all. But I think it's really cool that we get to see this one have some of his personality where the wheels are like fire and it's like a transparent plastic. I really like that instead of it feeling like he's sitting in a wheelchair, it feels like an extension of himself, and like you get to see his personality come through with the chair. So I really vibe with that, and I think it makes him stand out. I didn't really realize we were on another Manster kick, but here we are. Did it ever really end? Am I just talking about Mansters right now? So this is Claude. He did come in a 2-pack with Draculaura, but it definitely felt different than the 2-pack that Heath came with Abby. Because again, that was a themed home ick class. This was like a little date 2-pack. So like realistically speaking, it's just an outfit. You know, it's a nice outfit because he's going on a date. So I think that for a core look, this one feels more similar to Holt in that regard. I hope at this point in the video I have not been mixing up Holt and Heath. I am really bad about that because they both start with H and they both have like fire. It's very difficult. But I think that he reminds me of Holt because this feels like a full outfit, right? Like he feels like he has a style. Is it mine? Maybe not. But he has a style, which I really do appreciate. Honestly, looking at this outfit, the only thing I take severe issue with is the hat. I just think it looks really not great on him. The rest of it isn't necessarily my full cup of tea, but I don't think it's ugly. I especially do actually really like the shoes. And just seeing again the layering that he's got, it looks on here like he actually has like a separate belt. He's got the shirt and the vest and like the scarf situation. He feels like a complete doll as opposed to a lot of the mansters that we've already talked about. Just take everything that I just said about Claude and like paste it in here for Jackson Jekyll. Literally, it's the same. He's not my favorite just because I feel like stylistically I don't really connect, and like as a character I didn't connect with him. He actually has colored lips though, so that's kind of fun. But yeah, like this clearly had effort put into it. So it's not as low as some of the other ones because even though it's not my taste, it's like at least you tried. Again, same thing with invisibility. He's higher up though because I think he's closer to a style of doll that I would buy. I don't want him, still wouldn't buy him, but he's getting closer, right? Like he's more up there in terms of a design that like actually feels like something that I would want to have in my collection. He has, I think, a fabric hat, which is really, really sick to see. So yeah, I mean, again, just copy paste, except he's more aligned with my style, so he's a little higher up. I think this one might be controversial, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced this name. It's not intentional. That could go for literally any of the names here. But Kirsty Trollston, I get it, okay? I get it, especially with like the time that this doll would have come out. She's a troll by species, so let's go with like online gamer troll. I get it. I just don't like it. I will say, I think that sometimes when you get into like trolls and goblins, the stereotypes can feel a little bit racially motivated. So, in that sense, it's nice that they did go in like the gamer troll direction, but still. It's just a little corny, especially I don't think it's aged very well necessarily. It's not really for me. So, I like her base doll a lot, and I like the idea of having a troll character, but I don't like the theme that they executed her with. Also, she doesn't have fabric leg warmers. They're molded on, and I think it looks really bad. So, sorry. That brings us to 50th place. We're slowly but steadily making our way through here. This is Posy Reef. I always want to say Posiea. I don't know. There are a few dolls from G1 of Monster High, you'll know if you've been here for a while, that I just cannot avoid adding extra syllables to their names for no reason. But it's Posy, but like Posy, like S-E-A, like the C. I feel like I'm just, again, a broken record about like the Great Scary Reef dolls. It's too much. There's too much going on here. Like it needed to be edited down, but I think the idea is really cool. Like the concept that she is sort of basically a humanoid coral reef. Like coral reef is already a living organism, right? Or like, you know, a conglomerate of living organisms. So the idea to take that and turn it into a Monster High doll, I do think is genuinely so fun. Her like quote unquote tail just being plant life is so cool. Anyway, so cool to me. But it really is just, it's too much. It's just too much going on. So she's, you know, lower than I think that her concept merits. It's just that the execution didn't hold up. And then we have Iris, who is another one that is like quite simplistic, not quite as much as some of the other ones that we've seen. She was also an SDCC exclusive. I think mostly she's getting points for like a very unique sculpt and very unique monster type. I think most of her outfit is pretty inoffensive. I don't like the eyes on the shoes. I think the eye on the bag is kind of fun. The shoes, you're losing me. But like most of the outfit is inoffensive. I just do think like a Cyclops character, again, that's so cool, so different. Would love to see her get to actually like have a G3 doll, not just come back in like the media, but like actually get a doll in G3. Because how many dolls are there that are a Cyclops? That's crazy. Like that's so cool and so fun. She just doesn't hold up to some of the subsequent dolls we're going to get to. Now this one I already know is going to be controversial, but if you know me, you understand why. This is Ghoulia. I don't like zombies. that's like the short of it. Like, I don't want to go into the whole thing all over again because I already feared that this video is going to be quite long. Zombies just really freak me out. I don't like zombies. I have nothing against Ghoulia personally. Hi, Reese. I know, baby. I don't have anything against Ghoulia personally. I just don't like zombies. That being said, she's got some outfit pieces that I think are pretty cool. And overall, I think she has a very cohesive and like interesting aesthetic. I just don't like zombies. Next up is Costa, who was in my collection for a very long time. I only recently got rid of her. I like clung to this doll for a while. I think she honestly looks good. And I think for a while I really liked the sort of like stereotypical Halloween look she has. Almost like not quite vintage Halloween. Like I wouldn't necessarily go that far, but her color scheme is very stereotypically Halloween. And I do think that that's sort of fun. I just found that every time I looked at her, I sort of felt less in love with her. So I don't hate her by any means. I just didn't really like her enough to keep her. But I do think she's got some really cool design elements. The sort of like fit and flare dress with like the belt at the flare point is fun. The cage around her shoulders, obviously quite fun. Like there's a lot to love about this doll. The boots, crazy. Love those. Just overall, again, she doesn't really hold up compared to some of the other ones for me. Hi, what's going on? Hello. And then we have Lagoona. I'm really sorry for this picture in particular. I'm sure some of the other ones have also not been fabulous, but this one, I don't know why I couldn't find like a decent picture of her or like, I don't know if you guys have this, but sometimes I'll like look up images on Google and for some reason it just refuses to like load the image in the best quality that it can. And then you save it and it still is like shitty quality. So maybe that was going on. My internet has been like a little touch and go here lately. So yeah, sorry about that one. But her core was another one that was SDCC exclusive. And I just like, I love the concept for her. A spider. So sick, so fun. All the extra arms, the extra eyes. We adore that. The shoes are incredible. I just really think her outfit is not it. So there's things we love, things we don't love. She's sort of middle of the road here. Then we have Frankie. Another one that I know is controversial. I only started liking Frankie in G3. I don't know why. I don't know if it was like the slight change in color scheme that they got. I do feel a bit more seen by them because like I'm non-binary, they're non-binary. I like that connection there. I don't think that this is like the most hideous doll ever. That would be crazy to say. I just don't personally like her. So there she is. Okay, this next one is Lorna McNessie. I love this. I love her so much in theory, which is why she's not higher up on the list. Lorna is one that I desperately would love to see return to G3 just because I feel like the Loch Ness Monster is like one of those cryptids, one of those monsters that is so recognizable, like across cultures. Like you say Loch Ness Monster and so many people know what you're talking about. So I feel like she makes sense to bring back. And I feel like she's so cool that she got to have a doll in G1. But I do just think that what she got and everything was a little bit lackluster. I love the base doll. I think it's really cute that she's on like the little sister body. So she's a little bit shorter. Love the red hair. But yeah, like the outfit and the accessories, especially, like that bag is a big, chunky plastic bag to be completely unpainted. Like with smaller accessories, I feel like you notice not having them painted less because they're tinier. So like her, I don't know if that's technically a belt. I'm going to call it that. I'm sorry if I'm incorrect there. But like that, even I feel like you don't notice quite as much because it's a smaller piece of plastic. I still think it should have had painted detail on there, but it's not as egregious. Whereas this bag is literally the size of her skirt and there's not a lick of painted detail on there. So I just feel like it's so glaringly obvious that the quality was like not done for her. So I don't think it's going to happen, but I really would love to see her come back in G3 so we can see such an iconic monster with maybe a little bit more care put into the design. And then we have El Edie. She's interesting because I feel like we've talked a few times on this list about dolls that I really liked when I was younger that I don't really care about anymore. And she's sort of the opposite. Not to the point where I would buy her, especially just because I've talked before. G1 Monster High dolls are so expensive on the secondhand market. And like, especially if you're trying to buy one complete, that it's not fun to me anymore to try to collect them. But I used to think this was hideous. And now, I mean, she's like middle of the pack. So again, not like, oh my God, amazing, I love her, but like she's pretty cool. I think the idea of a robot character maybe sort of bothered me back at like the beginning of my collecting journey when I was like first into Monster High, because I was definitely quite a bit more strict with myself. I've talked before about how I wouldn't let myself collect any other lines besides Monster High because it was like, that's it, that's all you're allowed to collect. So I think maybe my thought process was like, a robot isn't technically a monster, and so it irritated me because I didn't feel like she belonged in the brand. Now I'm a little bit less rigid in that thinking, and I think it's kind of fun. Like, let's not get on a tangent. Let's not do that. Let's just be very brief and say that I think she sort of brings up an interesting concept of like, would a robot, like a fully intelligent, like humanoid robot, be considered a monster or like some second classification? Like, are they a class of their own? I just think that that's kind of an interesting concept actually at this point. So it would be something that would be kind of fun to see Monster High do again. I'm not like obsessed with her outfit. I think especially the little like radar dish on her ponytail holder, that should have just been chromed out silver to me. I think that would have made it better. But like the circuit board cloak, that's kind of fun. Honestly, the more I stare at her, the more she's growing on me. And now I'm like, shit, I should have put her a little bit higher, but it's too late. We're not making adjustments. Let's just move on. Yeah, immediately. What was I thinking? Anyway, Nathan Rott is up next. I did used to have the stall. I ended up selling him. I do think that there are a lot of really cool things about him, but just, again, like the quality wasn't where I maybe wanted it to be. Zombie unicorn, quite interesting. Like a not pastel, a like primary color rainbow as the color palette. Also quite interesting, but I wish we could have gotten a little bit more for him. And then we have Gigi Grant, another one that I did have up until recently. I think her hairstyle is so fun and so interesting. She also has a lot of like body sculpting elements that feel quite reminiscent of scorpions, which is very, very unique. She's got like these crazy long like fingers with the nails and everything. There's a lot to like about her, but like, I don't know. The more I look at her as an adult, the more I was just like, I don't really know about this one. Yeah, that's kind of it. Like, I just feel very like mixed about her. I think there are things to like, things to dislike. There is like the whole concept of, again, I said I wasn't going to like go deep into anything, but I do need to note that the like desert genie sort of theme generally, I think, is typically done in a way that is like mixing a lot of different cultures and not really necessarily being the most respectful to those cultures. So that, I think, as an adult has really contributed to my decline of love for Gigi. Not that it's like her fault, but the people who made her, you know? So yeah, kind of mixed feelings about her. Wisp gets to be slightly higher on the list. I'm maybe cheating a little bit, okay? But this is my video, so I'm going to cheat a little bit. Wisp is essentially the same doll as Gigi because she is supposed to be Gigi's shadow. Like, that's the lore behind her. But she, for her core doll, was released as an SDCC exclusive in a 2-pack with Valentine. And she did have, like, a normal, like, body. Like, I was going to say basic body, but it's not really, like, the basic Monster High body. Y'all know what I mean. So she had that, like, the same as Gigi. But she also had this tail. And so because that was included in her, is tail the right word? I think it's more like smoke. Anyway, though, because that was included in her core pack, I think it still counts. And I think the inclusion of that inherently makes her more interesting than Gigi. So, like, because they are literally just, I mean, I know they're different characters, but from a purely aesthetic standpoint, they're just recolors of each other. But Wisp has this funky little like smoke tail situation going on, so she gets bonus points. Then I never know how to pronounce this one either. It's either Icy or Icy or Issy. I'm gonna say Icy. I'm really sorry if that's wrong. Again, it's not intentional. I'm not good at this sometimes. She's another one. I think probably like the most famously controversial character when it comes to like cultures and everything from Monster High. So there is that disclaimer. If we're going aesthetically, though, it's funny because she's a deer. Oh my God. Okay, when my mispronunciations are unintentionally puns, we love it here. It is too early in the day for me to be acting this tired. Like, it's 1:30. It's 1:30 in the afternoon. I should be way more together than this. Anyway, I think her being a deer is really fun and very interesting. I think the like prints and everything are very fun. She's really only this low on the list because she's like quite controversial. And so because of that, I look at her and I feel like a little bit weird about it, you know? So there's that. But aesthetically, she has like a lot going for her. And then we have the twins, Meowlity and Persephone. I do understand that these are separate characters, and unlike Perry and Pearl, they're not conjoined twins, so they're not like one doll. So arguably, I should have ranked them as two separate dolls. However, they're literally just recolors of each other. Like Gigi and Wisp, at least Wisp had the tail, so that sort of separated her. Otherwise, I probably would have copped out and ranked those together also. These are literally just recolors of the same doll. So, like, it's just kind of eh. And I've said this a lot before. I don't know why these things like come up so often on the channel, but I do think that the idea of twins having differing aesthetics, like sort of opposite aesthetics, can be fun, but I also think that it is something that is so overdone at this point. And when it gets to the point where it's not just like, oh, you know, here's like the angel and here's the demon, and like the angel has like the frilly frou-frou aesthetic and the demon has like the leather. It is playing into that sort of like opposites thing, but it's different pieces, maybe. These are literally the same clothing items, just with different colors. And same thing with the dolls. So I think, I mean, okay, the shoes are different. Sorry, don't be mad at me. The shoes are different. But there's so much that's exactly the same that it's just like, I feel like more could have been done, you know? I'm getting really nervous that I've like missed a marker somewhere because we still haven't hit 25 apparently. But we're just going to keep going and hope at some point we hit that. So whatever number this is Valentine. I think he was a very well executed boy doll. Again, he was an SCCC one. The outfit is really, really good. Two things though bring him down severely for me. One is those boots. I think having an SDCC doll, like a literal collector exclusive like doll, having no painted detail on the boots is inexcusable to me. I think that's crazy. And then I just think the hair looks really bad. Like I do appreciate rooted hair on male dolls when it's done correctly, but I really am not vibing with his bob. Then we have Marisol, and she's another one that is like a little bit controversial, which we hate to see it because I do think that her like concept and some of the ways she's been executed is pretty cool. She is a like type of Bigfoot and she actually has like extra big feet. And I love that. I love that they weren't just like, oh, Bigfoot. But like, honestly, I don't think it's crazy to say that it would have been entirely possible for Monster High to make a Bigfoot character and have their freaky flaw be that they just weirdly don't have big feet. Like they don't fit in with the rest of their family because they don't have big feet because they're just like oh so tiny and petite and cute. Let's keep it real. I feel like that is something that they could have done, especially like I think that just generally speaking, there's a lot of problems with like male dolls specifically, but like culturally, women are held to such a standard of beauty compared to men. Not that there aren't standards for men too. Okay, I'm not trying to say that, but like women definitely are held to higher standards. And so the idea of making a female character who has very, very big feet, I think is pretty cool. And like, it isn't something that's portrayed as like this huge negative. It's like, yeah, that's just like her monster type. She's got big feet. Who cares? She's got these fabulous heels. It doesn't matter. I love that for her. I really like the two like green twists in her hair and like the little ornaments at the end. That's very fun. So like, again, lots of good, just a little bit of controversy also. Then we have Skelita, who full throttle up until we got the leaks for the G3 version of Skelita, probably would have been higher on this list. But now that I know she can look like that, like not that this doll's bad, but oh my goodness. I'll pop a picture in here because I think it's like a stock photo or like close enough that it's not copyright dangerous. So I'll pop in a picture here in case you guys haven't seen it. So I think it's just in my head, even though I'm only supposed to be comparing G1 dolls, it's hard to not think about that and be like, wow, we could have had a lot more detail on Skelita. That being said, she debuted the skeleton body type, I think, because I know there was a skeleton Create-A-Monster, but I think that came after Skelita. At the very least, she was like an actual fully realized character with the skeleton body type, which is so cool and so just like interesting and fun. And I do think there are still really nice elements of her design. Her skirt, especially, is quite beautiful to me. So, like, she's not bad. And again, I think she honestly would have been higher, but like, Skelita's leveling up. Even like in the G1 style, I don't have stock photos for this, so I can't share this one with you yet, so I'm sorry. But the Dia de los Muertos doll that's supposed to be coming up this year for her G1 style doll, oh my God, that thing is gorgeous. So I just think that like some of the more recent designs, and even honestly other designs in G1 that she had, outshine her core doll a little bit. So she's good, but not great. Are y'all gonna be mad at me if I say that I think the core Claudine is a little bit boring? Not that she's ugly. Like, that's not at all what I'm trying to say. I mention quite frequently that in adulthood, Claudine has grown on me severely in all generations. Like, I really was missing out. I did not love her enough when I was younger. But when you compare this doll to other core dolls, I do think she just sort of looks more basic. I'm really sorry. I don't think she's ugly. I just think there are other dolls that look more interesting. Like her sister Howleen. I just think like Howleen to me feels like a more unique style. The amount of painted detail on those shoes is very impressive. I am so sad that like we never got another Howleen that had this orange curly hair. After this, she always had her like 13 Wishes style where it's like the long pink. And it's not that that's ugly, but this fabulous orange curl situation is right there. I am obsessed. I think this is a really, really good one. And she's just, I feel like she's got a lot of personality, so I appreciate that. And then we have Toralei, who, as a not even cat lover, cat obsessed human being, I really should like more than I do. I just don't. Again, I don't think she's ugly. Honestly, sort of similar to Claudine. I just think that her design could be more interesting. I'm going to say it right this time instead of adding all the extra syllables. Remember how I said about Posey, how I always want to go Posiea? Avia, Trotter. Got it this time. Incredibly unique concept. The like centaur, but also harpy, I believe, was her other monster parent. So fun, so cool. I just think it did not come together for me for some reason. I had this doll, I got rid of her ages ago. Like this wasn't a recent thing. I think she's very interesting in concept, but again, I just don't know that the execution was like there enough for me to really love her. And then we have Calliope, who debuted the, I believe 17. I don't think it's a full 18. I think it's 17-inch dolls. I mean, that's an icon. How can you not, right? Like that's such an interesting thing. And then after we got her, we did get some like frightfully tall characters of like the core characters, and there were some like Create-A-Monsters or like something similar to that that were this tall. So like she kicked off a whole subset of Monster High dolls that I think is really interesting. She had different joints, so like her arms bend a little bit more, I believe, or like the knees, maybe it is. I can't remember exactly, and I'm not going to get up to check mine. I'm really sorry. But like, I just like that. And y'all already know Freak to Chic is my favorite Monster High line from G1 of all time. Like, I think that it's just so fabulous. I'm dying to see a circus theme done in G3 because I will go into debt, joking, but I will go into debt for those dolls if they ever come out. Like, they're not even a concept. Like, that's not even like a leaked thing at this point that like, oh, they're coming at some. No, I'm saying it needs to happen. So between the circus theming, I also think her color scheme's pretty, and like the fact that she's sort of iconic for debuting, again, like the tall dolls, I really appreciate her. And then we have Garrett, who I think is the third highest Manster on this list. I believe I only have two more to get through. I think he has one of the best faces of any of the Mansters. Like he just looks better in that regard to me. I think the top half of his outfit is really solid and looks quite interesting, and then the bottom half, everything just falls apart. Also, I can't tell, are his wings smaller than Rochelle's? Because they look a little bit smaller. And I feel like proportionally, like, because they're tinier than his head is my issue. So I think proportionally, they need to be just a teensy bit bigger. And then we have Operetta. This one, I've contemplated getting her so many times. Like, I contemplated buying her back when I first started collecting, throughout like the years, I've contemplated getting her secondhand. I contemplated getting her reproduction doll, and I can just never pull the trigger. I think she's on the cusp of being something that I want to own, but like she just isn't quite there. And personally, obviously, I'm never going to judge anyone else for like how they choose to curate their collection because that's not my business. I just personally didn't feel good about spending money on a doll that I feel unsure about like that. Like I want to feel really happy with all the dolls in my collection. So I love a lot about her. The hairstyle is unbelievably unique. Her whole aesthetic is very, very clear, very, very well executed. The pants, especially, I think are quite like quality in appearance. I've never held her, so I don't know, but they look really nice in quality. There's nothing wrong with her. She just doesn't like have that spark for me. Then Luna Matthews, I want to love her so bad. I say the same thing every time she comes up on my channel, where I every once in a while will be like, oh, maybe mixing metals isn't that bad. But really, secretly, deep down, it always bothers me. So the fact that she's got this beautiful chromed out like bronze headpiece and then silver shoes kills me. Also, they're not even chromed out silver. Like, if you're gonna mix the metals, at least make them both actually really metallic. That just drives me crazy. But if her shoes were in the same bronze color, or alternatively, if her headpiece was in silver, I think the bronze is just kind of more interesting because you don't see it as much. I would have bought her. So she was this close, this close. And now, again, as an adult, I'm like, I know I can do that. Like, I have chrome paint pens. I can redo things and make them better. But I don't want to buy her secondhand. I don't want to pay for it. So we will admire her from afar, from the waist up. Isn't that right, Miss Weiss? Okay, I scrolled ahead just a tinge. I wasn't crazy. I didn't miss a marker. So this is 26th place is Cupid. I think she's really cool. Like, I do think she's quite interesting. Again, there's like some intrigue around her about like not really knowing her parentage and everything like that. And I think that that's quite fun. I think that her outfit is cool. The bone wings are sick. The lace in the legs, also sick. I just think like, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Very similar to Operetta, where it's like, I just don't feel at this moment in time nearly strong enough about her to like want to go out of my way. And even if she were reproduced, I don't know that I would get her. So like, she's really good, but just like missing a little something, something for me. And that brings us properly to 25th place, which is going to be Katrine Demille. This is a cat design I can get behind. I don't know if it's like the colors that I really, really like, because you'd think I would like Toralei more as a certified orange lover. But I just like, her clothes don't really do it for me. Katrine just looks so elegant and sleek and gorgeous, and also she's an artist, so like maybe that's something that I like about her, because I also really, really enjoy art, so like maybe I feel connected to her in that way. I just think her hair blend is so pretty, the like pattern mixing with her scarf and her dress. She's just relatively simple, but like she's got that something. Then we've got Deuce, who is, I believe, again, if I'm not completely forgetting somebody, our second highest male doll. He is really, really cool in Generation 1. I do like him in Generation 3. I don't mind the green skin in Generation 3. I just don't like the screening so much. But this screening, look at him go. Hi, baby. You are so sweet and cute. Hello. He does have like some color to his lips. So again, it just is avoiding that uncanniness. It's not that different. Like, it's not like a drastically different shade, but it's enough to make him feel more alive, you know? And I do really like the way that they executed the like sculpting for the scales, and the mohawk of snakes is very, very cool. The scales like on his arm is also very cool. Hi, baby. You're getting a little ferocious. Okay, I'll play with you after. I'm so sorry. The outfit too, again, feels like an actual outfit. Like he actually had some design and some thought put in. So yeah, he's pretty great. Then there's Twyla. I do really, really like her. I think after watching 13 Wishes, I liked her a lot more, just because I like got to learn a little bit about her character. And while I relate to her much more heavily in G3, I still do relate to her in some regard in G1. So like that might be making me a little bit more biased. I'm a little bit inconsistent with that with this list, huh? Because like I love Hoodude, but he was dead last. And now I'm like, oh, I like Twyla, and she's like higher up. I'm trying to go mostly on aesthetics, but every once in a while, personal opinion's going to sneak in there, But yeah, I think she's got like an interesting print to her design. I think the shadows on her legs and her arms is really, really fun. I think the hair blend is quite beautiful there, and the shoes are really cool. So yeah, these like I think 25 through like 10 are just all dolls that I think are good, but they're not necessarily outstanding. That brings us to Miss Amanita Nightshade, who I have almost bought on countless occasions. I think she's really, really gorgeous. This dress gets me every time. Like, it is just so cool. Like, there's just something so fun about the print for it, the colors for it, the contrast of like the shockingly bright purple with the green skin, I think is really fun. And the makeup, like the screening on this doll, she is so, so good. I don't know why I didn't get her when she came out, like, when I was younger, because I definitely was collecting at that time. So I don't know what was going on with me. I've thought about her so many times. If she got a reproduction, I would get her. I just don't wanna pay secondhand prices for her to, like, be complete, you know? I'm not really vibing with that, but a reproduction, she's not gonna get one, but I would buy her at that point. Next up, we have Kiyomi Haunterly. I really think Haunted was such an excellent line. I definitely don't think she's bad, and I think the concept for her being a like faceless ghost, and so having the like very faint, just an outline of a face up, that's such a fun, cool way to execute that concept. For me personally, I featured her in one of my doll fixing videos, like way back, where I just really edited her color scheme. The shoes is what kills me the most. I wish we had a little bit more painted detail on some of her other accessories, but the shoes being the only element that is this like transparent black color drives me bonkers. Again, I do understand that I could fix that if I were to ever get her, but again, I'm not going to buy her secondhand so that I can like fix her up. Like I like her. Again, at this point, if I could buy her just new in box for $25, $30, I would get her and I would fix the shoes and then I would be very happy. But since that's not an option, we don't have her, but we do appreciate her. Another haunted entry. This is Vandala Doubloons, and I do have this one. I think just Ghost Pirate, sick. Sick combo. Love to see it. I think the color scheme is more successfully executed on this one. She's got a lot of transparent elements, which y'all know I'm a sucker for, and especially the like heavily sculpted, like ghostly wooden leg, like her peg leg. Shut up! That's so cool. That's so fun. She's a vibe. Next is Core Cleo, and I really, really do like her. I thought about getting her pre-production. I didn't because, like, she was in the 2-pack with Deuce, which is how they originally released, so I understand why they did that. I just didn't feel necessarily strongly enough about Deuce to pay $50, I think it was, just to get Cleo. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that I wouldn't have appreciated him, but it was just like, I don't know about that price tag. I do think she's a really, really fun doll, though. Like, the mummy wraps, the blue top, she's just an icon, you know? Okay, but Draculaura, she's good. She's really good. She is one that I did buy when they did Creep Productions for her. Another one that's just iconic in a very different way than Cleo. But like, this is quintessential Monster High, so of course she had to be relatively high up on the list. Wow, okay, I don't know why this image is so ass. Sorry. But this is Honey Swamp, and I think she's amazing. I think perhaps her dress is my least favorite element of hers, but the whole concept of sort of like a swampy alligator monster, I think, is insanely cool. She's got gorgeous, gorgeous curls and such a beautiful hair blend. Like, the colors that they chose are so phenomenal for her. The little hat accessory, I think, is really cute. The shoes. Y'all, we need a G3 Honey Swamp ASAP. What was that, Miss Weiss? If you guys have cats, you know when they like sometimes do almost like a little bunny kick? She just like bunny kicked a box for some reason. Love you, girly. Okay, that brings us to our most highly rated male doll, which let me see real quick if I can count it. I think he's in 16th place if I'm able to count, is Porter Geist. I really like him. He desperately needs some color on his lips, because especially with the like almost like pearlescent, like not quite transparent, but like the haunted doll quality. If you've ever seen one of these dolls in person, you'll know for sure. I think that really is contributing to the uncanniness of him not having any color on his lips at all. That being said, I love the hair. I think this is a great way to do rooted hair because it's short, but it's rooted and it's styled in a way that looks intentional, unlike Valentine's Bob. And I really like the theming for him. He's not the most detailed ever, but I love the paint drips on his like button up, the sort of brick with the splatters of paint on his shorts, the fact that he's got like a harness with 2 cans of spray paint. Like the characterization, again, it's not necessarily as detailed as some of the other dolls and even some of the other boy dolls, but the characterization is really, really strong. And there's just something about him that I think is super cool, super fun. He's another one that, like, were he inexpensive, I would love to have. Next up is my girl Lagoona. She's so cutie. It's funny because for a while before they did the reproductions, this doll probably would have been significantly higher up just because I wanted her so bad. Like I wanted the core Lagoona so badly, but she was like quite expensive on the secondhand market whenever I had looked. So it was just like the fact of her being unattainable, I think made me like want her more at that point in time. Now that I have the reproduction of her, I still definitely love her. She's quite high up on the list. I mean, she's not top 10, but like you got to think out of $69 for her to be close to the top 10, like 15th place, that's pretty dang good. I think she's still an incredible doll, still really, really beautiful. Just now that I have had the chance to like have her or like a version of her in my hands, I think that there are still other dolls that stand out to me more. So this next one is one of like not necessarily my biggest doll regrets, but like definitely a doll regret that I have, and that is Benita Femur. And I regret not getting her when I was younger. I just didn't vibe with her when I was younger. I don't know why, because again, Freaky Fusion was the line that I was actively collecting for. I bought many of the other dolls from Freaky Fusion. Actually, I think every other Fusion I got and had it at one point. And I just never bought Benita. And now I'm like, what was I thinking? Why? Why didn't I get this doll? She's so cool. She's a skeleton moth. And I didn't buy her when I had the chance when she released. And now she's expensive. So now I like her and now I can't really get her, but she's really cool. Okay, Venus. I feel like it's a little shocking that she's so low on the list, like not even cracking the top 10. Because technically speaking, she was the first doll, like the first Monster High doll that I ever bought. I just, while I really, really still love the base doll, I think G3 Venus, like I think about that and I'm like, oh wow, like that's really, really fun and cool. And also there are just other G1 Venuses that I think stand out a little bit more. She's always going to mean a lot to me and she's always going to be iconic to me and I'm always going to love her. So it's not that I don't think she's good. I just think the other dolls we're going to talk about are a teensy bit better. And I think there are other better Venuses. That brings us to Elizabeth. She's gorgeous. That's kind of all I got. I don't really have a lot of commentary for her. I just think she's a really, really beautiful, like deep, dark, more close to goth than a lot of other Monster High dolls get. And I think she's really beautiful. Immediately following that up with another Hauntlywood doll, we have Viperine. If I had done this ranking in my youth, they would have been reversed for sure. But I don't know, something about Viperine, like every time I look at her on my shelf, I feel like I love her a little bit more. I think the color scheme is really, really cool. It's a lot of pastels. She obviously has like the black as the main color for her dress, but she's got like the light pink and like the light yellow skin and like the light blue. There is just something about her that draws me in and that I really, really love. And she's another one that I am like, G3, please. I've got cat hair all over me now and all over my scrunchie. Like everything is cat. I just brushed her other cat, Alice. I need to brush Reese too. She's a little harder to wrangle. Anyway, back to the ranking. We're cracking the top 10 now. Top 10, starting off with Rochelle Goyle. She's unbelievable. She's so good. I have her in my collection and I'm so glad that I have her now because I bought her secondhand at a like somewhat local toy store, but I didn't get her when I was younger and like I had regretted that for so long. Like I wanted her. She's just so gorgeous. The skirt is the star of the show for me. It's holographic, it's reflective, it's gorgeous. And I also really like her face up. You can't super see it in this picture, but like she does have a slightly like sad looking face to her and I just think it's very interesting. And it's not that I'm like oh, I want more of my dolls to look sad. That's not what I'm going for. But I just think it stands out and it's very interesting. And like I've said with some of the others, like with Operetta, how I was like, oh, there's just something that like is preventing me from really liking her. I can't really tell like what it is. She just doesn't click with me. Rochelle's the opposite. Something about her just clicks. Next up, we have Caddy. This is an icon. Like this is an iconic doll. That skirt is just genuinely so incredible. The pink and silver and black. We love to see it. I do like baseline G3 Caddy more. I do like this outfit more though. Like she's just such a moment. And this was like a I don't think I would quite say collector because she was readily available like on store shelves, but she was like a special release. Something about her just feels like such a moment in time for Monster High. So I think the combination of liking the doll and also just feeling like she's so iconic bumps her up pretty high on this list. Then we have Nephra Denial. She is one that I also bought secondhand, but like a long time ago. Like, gosh, I think it was like 19 years old. Oh, how time flies. But I got her secondhand off eBay. Mine is mysteriously missing a finger. Couldn't tell you how that happened. It happened after I bought her. I don't really know what happened, but like she's just so incredible to me. And I feel like there was a moment in time within the Monster High fandom when this doll was like one of the most sought after ones, or at least I was like only barely dipping my toes into like the online doll world at that point. So it could have just been the specific space that I ended up occupying. But it felt like there was a period of time where it was just like this was the Monster High doll to have. And I felt so accomplished when I managed to find her for a somewhat decent price, fully complete with the ring and everything. So she's just like one that really stands out in my head because buying her felt like an accomplishment. So I do really like her. And then we have the Court Jennifer doll, who I have always been like a little bit sad about not owning. I feel better now because now I have the Fangboat Jennifer, and that's like the Jennifer to end all Jennifers when it comes to G1. Like G3, she's got such a different design, so it's kind of hard to compare. I love that doll too. But as far as G1, having the Fangboat doll, I'm okay not having her core doll. That being said, I still do think she's very beautiful. Also one that was like a little bit culturally questionable. I've talked in here about like the skin tone. Some people feel like it's a little bit stereotypical. I think the bigger issue with Jennifer is not her appearance, but the fact that they played a special like musical track every time she was on screen that felt very racially motivated. There's really not any other way to put that. Like that was fucking weird. But again, aesthetics only for this one. We'll make the note that like she was maybe not handled the best, but I do think she's gorgeous doll. Okay, this one feels funny to have her this high up because I own this doll. But if you saw my like semi-recent Monster High collection tour, she's not on my shelves because I need to give her a different outfit or at least different shorts. That's really it. This is Batsy Claro, and her color scheme on this image and like honestly just any image doesn't hold up to how incredible this doll looks. She's got this super pale skin, and the hair, the green on this doll is so much more green than you're getting from this picture. Again, if you've seen her in person, you know it is such a gorgeous green color. I'm so beyond obsessed with it. I love her two-tone lip, her screening. The outfit is all one piece. That kind of pisses me off. I really like the top half. I'm just not completely sold on the shorts. And so she's in my like project bin because I need to do something different with her. Because outside of that, I love this doll so much. If she had been given a different and separate set of bottoms in her core doll, genuinely, this has the potential to have been my top favorite, which is crazy of me to say. And like the wings too, like everything about her is just so unbelievable to me outside of the outfit. So the base doll is really carrying her. I think she's crazy good. Fifth place, top 5, Abby Abominable. Do I need to explain why? I don't really think I do. She's gorgeous. She's got this incredible tinsel in her hair. She's got sparkles all over her body. So, of course, me, who is drawn to anything shimmery and shiny, is going to love her. She's another one that just feels so iconic and incredible. And she's amazing. Next up is Rebecca Steam. I mean, this is such a unique doll. Funnily enough, now that I'm thinking about it, why is it that when I was younger, LED bothered me, but Rebecca didn't? Rebecca's also, I mean, I guess you might classify her as closer to being like an automaton than a robot, but we're splitting hairs. Why does my brain work like this? It doesn't matter. This is the 2025 rank. She's really cool. She's very unique to me. I feel like we don't get to see a lot of steampunk aesthetics. So like that's something that draws me in and sets her apart. And I just think the color scheme is super incredible. Again, like I said with Luna, we typically see gold and silver as the metallics of choice for dolls just across all brands. That's not even just Monster High. So her being bronze, I mean, for steampunk, it fits in very well, but it just makes her stand out. And I think she's super fun, super interesting. Another one that we need in G3, ASAP. Now, top 3. If you know anything about me, you might be surprised by this. Third place goes to Spectre Vondergeist, who, as I've said a million times on this channel, is the reason that I started collecting dolls. She was the second Monster High doll I ever got, only because I couldn't get her in stores and had to find her on eBay. But she's the reason this is happening. She's incredible and iconic and will always mean like the most to me. But there are 2 other dolls that I do think I like the design of just a little bit better. And it feels something close to sacrilegious to say that. It's nothing against her. I just think these other 2 are really cool. So second place goes to River Styx. There is just something about this doll that scratches my brain. So good. Her dress is unbelievable. The like quote unquote like soul sort of drifting through is so good. The body mold that she got, the transparent calves and like forearms where you can see the bone in them. I'm dead. I'm deceased, just like River. I just think she's so cool. She's literally just wearing like a basic mesh black cloak, and for some reason I'm obsessed with it. I couldn't tell you why. The shoes are great. I just adore her. But we still have one better. So, little like shitty drum roll. My top favorite signature doll from G1 is Serena Bamboo. She's amazing. She's amazing. She doesn't have the like nostalgia factor and like the sentimental value that Spectre has, but purely from an aesthetic standpoint, this doll is so unreal to me. It's not even funny. The like pearlescent skin that she has, the fin eyebrows, shut the fuck up. That's incredible. I love her. She's a ghost mermaid. The mermaid tail is great. The like tendrils going down her arms are incredible. The fade to black with the fins and like her hands. Y'all. And number 1, this hairstyle. This hairstyle is bonkers. At some point, I'm going to have to redo mine. And I dread that day because I'm going to have to find some talent. Like I'm going to have to pluck some hair doing talent out of thin air to accomplish this. It is so fun and so cool. She just is so unbelievably unique and interesting to me. And that's really all I have to say. There's just a quality, an intangible quality that this doll has that has me in an absolute chokehold. So she's my number 1 favorite signature doll. But that's finally it. Hold on, let's see how long I've. So I don't know how much of that is gonna like end up getting edited out, but I've been recording for like an hour and 20 minutes. So this is probably a nice long one for you guys. Hopefully it was super duper fun for you. I'm not going to ask you to rank all 69 of these dolls in the comments because like that's a lot of effort for you to do. If you want to, feel free, and I applaud you in advance for bothering to put that much effort in. But if you want to like tell me some of your highlights and lowlights of these signature dolls, give me your opinions on my opinions. I would just love to hear what you have to say, but I'm finally done talking. My throat hurts. So it's time for me to go brush and play with Miss Reese like she has been needing me to do this whole video. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy my rambling and my talking about some Monster High dolls today. Let me know down below if you'd like to see me do this for more. I can obviously do G3, I can do G2 if you want, I can do, I mean, I'm trying to think, like, other lines don't necessarily always have like the core looks in the same exact way. But let me know if there's anything else you want me to do this for. But yeah, that's going to be it for today, guys. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day or your night, or whatever it might be, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.